A few weeks ago, I preached a sermon at our church about the story of Noah's Ark, and that sermon raised some eyebrows. You see, in that sermon, I explained that Noah's Ark isn't the only flood story, and it's certainly not the oldest flood story. You see, flood stories, like love stories, aren't unique to one culture. So, what do we do about that? Now, one mistake that's commonly made is to assume that all of these stories are talking about the same historic flood. Science tells us that's just not reality. There is no hard evidence of a worldwide flood. The reality is that each story represents each culture addressing localized flooding that felt catastrophic to them, because floods feel that way. We still tell stories today of huge floods that have wiped out towns and cities and regions in our country. And we can see these now from a distance. But when your whole world was likely less than 100 miles, it would feel like everything was gone. Now, this kind of catastrophic suffering led to questions and why their gods would let this kind of thing happen. And in that comparison, we find what we should be looking for in this story. You see, just like the ancient people were not all talking about the same flood, they were also not talking about the same God. The point was that the author was making was that Noah's God was different. He didn't destroy out of boredom or because humans annoyed him. His response was out of sadness at the injustice in the world. Now, this story is still going to feel out of touch with our modern mindset. Noah's God still seems rather angry, and it's okay to feel a tension in that. That was the author's point. The author was saying, what God would do this? That's the exact question he wanted us to ask. You see, the tension was the same, but the gods were different, and that was the author's point. While the other gods moved on after the destruction, Noah's God showed regret and compassion and shifted from destroying life to preserving it. And as small as that shift might feel to us, it was huge for the ancient people. Maybe this God was different, they asked. Maybe this God is worth another look. You see, the author of Noah's Ark wasn't writing a history or a science book. The author was writing an opinion piece, meant to change how people looked at their God. Hundreds of years later, a story about a man and a cross would do the same thing. And that story is still impacting us today. But that's a story for another day.